Hello, I'm Nando Messias. I'm a trans and non-binary performance artist. I create queer work based on my experience of being in the world. I started creating work because I didn't see space available in the world for people like me. So I decided to create work to make space where there wasn't space before. I've been involved with the Staging Decadence project from the very beginning. As part of the program, I am now doing a residency at Goldsmiths University, where I am exploring my trans archive in a performance called Transmission Sissy TV. Transmission Sissy TV is all about trans archives, but more specifically about my personal archive, the things I've accumulated over decades of making queer work. I started thinking about my archive when I realized I had boxes and boxes and piles of things at the back of my wardrobe, and I wanted to create room, space for new things to come in. I wanted to burn my archive. I wanted to burn my whole archive and eat the ashes. I wanted to burn my whole archive and eat the ashes so that the ashes could enter my body and become part of my DNA. I wanted to burn the whole archive, eat the ashes, so that my digestive system would reconfigure the ashes into a new form that I couldn't envisage just with my mind and my intellect. It had to go through my body in order to be reconfigured in a new form. I wanted to burn my whole archive, eat the ashes, and let the ashes go through my digestive system and out at the other end, to be expelled through my anus in the shape of shit, which is to me a queer form of knowledge. Shit that is something that is seen as contagious, something that is seen as disgusting, something that needs to be flushed down the toilet. Instead, I see it as a queer form of knowledge, something that brings forth new life, something that gives you valuable information about your body, what it needs, what it lacks, and what it has. What I am going to do now is I am going to burn an element of my archive. I am going to burn something I created for a performance called Aurora. I created Aurora during the pandemic, during the COVID pandemic, when I had COVID myself. And I was afraid, and I was in fear, and I was anxious. My hair was falling out in huge clumps, and I was afraid of dying. I was in fear of aging. I was feeling dysphoric about my gender because my hairline was receding and my hair was falling and I was dying. So out of that fear, I decided to create pieces of jewelry. I decided to harness my fear and turn it into beauty. I created pieces of jewelry out of my hair. And now I am going to burn my hair. I am now going to burn my hair. So one of the first things that triggered this whole process that led to Transmission Sissy TV was an experience I had seeing an exhibition at the V&A, where I encountered, without expecting, by surprise, the costume for a performance called L'Argentina, Admiring L'Argentina, by Kazuo Ono. Kazuo Ono, who is a performance artist I admire, and I was really familiar and loved Admiring L'Argentina, but I'd never seen anything concrete or material from that performance. And it really surprised me. It was almost like a spiritual experience to come face to face with this costume that this performer had worn, even though the costume was pristine, behind glass and out of reach, very high up on the wall. And that triggered this idea or this thought or this question, this investigation, that queer performers are not represented in institutional archives. And when they are represented, their remains are sterilized, cleaned, erased. So the main thrust of Transmission Sissy TV is to preserve the costumes, the dresses, as they are, so that the history that they tell in the lipstick stains, in the blood stains, in the makeup stains, in the cigarette burn on the dress, a tear on the dress that has been badly mended, that remains intact and as it is, rather than being sterilized or deleted or erased. To me, this archive of costume is decadent in the sense that it's too much, it's over the top, there's too much of it. Also, I would say that out of all the costumes that I have in my archive, this one is the most decadent because it is completely over the top. It is too much in all senses, in the sense that it's brightly colored, that it's metallic, that the embroidery is over the top. If you look at the back, all the details, and it keeps going. When you think you've seen everything, there's more detail to see. So I received this box with Lou Reed's t-shirts, and I remember seeing at the back of the t-shirt on the neck what seemed to me to be his skin flakes. And that was a really interesting thing because I'd never seen anything like it before, and it brought him very present to me at that moment. It was almost like I was taking off the t-shirt off his back and seeing him present in that space with me. And I remember seeing the flakes of skin and knowing instantly what I wanted to do, which was to eat a flake of skin. But as I said earlier, I was being surveilled. There was someone, the librarian was watching me, and there were people all around me. But I thought, there's got to be a way for me to do this. I have got to find a way to eat Lou Reed's skin flake. So I was writing notes about these objects that I was seeing with white gloves on. And as I was writing notes, I realized that one of the skin flakes had transferred onto my gloved finger. So I knew that that was the moment. So I looked around me everywhere, and I was very discreet and inconspicuous in the way that I brought my finger towards my lips, and I licked that skin flake, and I swallowed